You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we hang out and talk about everything from hammocks and hammock camping to the group hangs from around the country. Hey everyone, welcome to the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we unwind, relax, and delve into all things hammock related. Join us as we swing into the world of hammocks, exploring tips and tricks for setting up that perfect hang, sharing stories of outdoor adventures, and discovering the latest trends in hammock camping and relaxation. Whether you're a seasoned hammocker or new to the art of hanging, this podcast is your cozy corner to kick back, escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and soak in the soothing atmosphere of the hammock culture. Prepare to be inspired, educated, and entertained as we embrace the hammock lifestyle together. So grab your favorite hammock, find that perfect spot to hang, and let's embark on a hammock-filled journey that will leave you feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to take on the world. This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where every episode is a breath of fresh air. Let's get started.
Howdy, hangers. Welcome to this week of the Hammock Hangers Podcast. We have been busy like crazy over the last few months with various things, and so we're glad to be back in recording. We've got a lot of stuff coming down the pike and a lot of information, so please make sure that you are subscribed to our Facebook page and keeping up on with us with Instagram as well. Now, this week, I'm really excited. We have our good friend, John Baats, and his wife on the podcast this week. He has been a huge supporter of HangCon for the last few years. Not only is he documenting his travels with traveling with Baatz, it's also, he is the man, the myth, the legend behind the coffee of HangCon, 803 Coffee. So welcome aboard, John. How are you doing tonight?
We are doing wonderful. Glad to be here. Glad to have some good coffee in hand there. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I am drinking, I don't know. I think it's like a mixed bean, but it was from a coffee that I got from Cooperative Roasters when I was in South Carolina this summer at the Hoo Hang. We went to a little coffee place that was right down the road from the campground. They had amazing bagels in the morning. They took pizza dough and like fashioned them into bagels in the morning. They were gosh darn delicious, and the coffee was pretty darn good too. I'm kind of like hesitant about buying coffee from coffee places that they don't roast their own beans, because you never know how old it is, this, that, and the other. And but I picked up a bag of this stuff, and it's been really good. So drinking that out of my Huga mug that I got from Denmark. So yeah, I'm all coffeeed up.
Bagels sound to die for, man.
Yeah.
Oh, they were on point. So you are the man behind 803 Coffee, as well as travels that you guys do quite frequently. And I know we have shared some itineraries, and we have bounced back in different places over the past couple of years, like Independence Pass and some of my favorite places in Colorado you've also visited. Kind of make me homesick looking at some of your pictures sometimes.
Yeah, the itinerary share has been nice. Out west to the Pacific Northwest, and then we stole a lot of your ideas for our Colorado trip. So we appreciate that.
Hey, I appreciate y'all too. It's great. So let's talk about kind of your camping origin story. Is that something that you guys are new to, or is it something that you grew up with and just kind of continued to fall in love with as you got older?
It was an addiction that grew fast. We originally born and raised in Minnesota, moved to South Carolina almost 20 years ago now. I moved for the ocean. We moved down here to be around ocean, because if you're not aware, there's no ocean in Minnesota.
Yeah, no.
And when I graduated initially with my IT degree, somebody said, "Why don't you go up to Asheville to the mountains?" I responded with, "Why? I have the ocean." He ended up talking me into it.
You're one of those.
Yeah.
Yes.
He talked me into it. 2010, we went up to Asheville, and the first time being in true mountains, literally, I can't even describe it, touched our hearts and changed us forever. From 2010, seeing really a vacation in the mountains for the first time, to 2019 hiking the Appalachian Trail. That's a crazy 9 years.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I can say that kind of escalated quickly. So what a part of the mountains did you fall in love with? So I grew up in the mountains, and I've always appreciated the mountains. And now I live 20 minutes from the Gulf of Mexico, like right on the beach kind of thing. But I could care less about the beach. I like sand getting in places that it doesn't need to be. Like, I mean, I'm sure I've been to the beaches in like the Mediterranean. I've been to some of like South Florida and seeing some of those beaches, but your regular Joe Schmo beach, especially for us on the Gulf, you don't get kind of like those waves kind of thing that you would see like on the East Coast. So the beach for me is like meh. But the mountains, like even the small mountains that I grew up in, and even going out west to see those mountains, which those mountains just hit different.
Yes, they do. I'm still picking sand out of odd places from 5 years ago, so I get it. In the mountains, it just hit me different. The peace, the quietness, the feeling of just being one. And I always describe this, and it never comes off right, but when you're in a huge mountain range, we went up to a place in Asheville our first time called Craigie Gardens. You're probably familiar with it. It's very popular. And seeing 50, 60 miles in every direction, I felt kind of small and insignificant to the world. And it really felt amazing. I know that sounds weird, but it really just hit me.
Yeah, I get that from going out west specifically. I think the pinnacle for me was we were standing in Glacier National Park, and you can take pictures and you can try to capture it as best you can. But I agree, there is just something about being in the mountains, especially like out there. The sky just feels so immense. And you would think like being on open water, the sky would also feel very immense. And it does, but there's just something about that small, insignificant feel that might be intimidating for some folks, but I agree. Like feeling that the comfort of insignificance, I guess.
I agree.
100%. 100%. So you went from like, hey, let's try this camping out to doing a through hike of the AT. Let's talk about that journey. Like, what did that, what did you start by like tent camping, or did you like start with RV camping, or what was kind of that timeline, that thought process? That's a kind of pretty big jump.
That absolutely is. Well, we were, our first trip to the mountains was a hotel trip in that 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
There is a large festival in Summerville, South Carolina called the Flowertown Fest. It's the largest azalea blooms in the world. And we went there, and the company everybody knows, Eno, is there. They talked me into buying
our very first hammock.
And then we were going to throw it in the jet ski and find places to hang from the jet ski.
Yeah.
And we decided to go camping, get a second one and go camping. One of those easy 10 feet from your car, throw the hammocks up and see how horrible this is. Well, as you know, it wasn't horrible. It was pretty amazing, even though I didn't know how to hang my hammock. I had a horrible underquilt. I didn't have any top. I didn't do anything right, but I loved it. So we spent the next 6 months, every single weekend, waking hour that we had free vacation or holiday, we would hammock camp, go hiking, small trips, 5-10 miles in, and hammock camp, and just skyrocketed from there. So never tent camping, never RV camping, just straight to a hammock, which is a little weird, but amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, so you had the traditional kind of gateway drug that kind of brought you in, and yeah, I would say if it wasn't for hammocking, like I wouldn't have hiked Like I can't even tell you, even to this day, what really inspired me to say, hey, I have a hammock now, so I'm going to go on a hike. And because hiking, like up until a few years ago, like hiking was not something that I was like looking forward to. Hills. I mean, granted, you're hiking at that point. For me, I was hiking at over 400 pounds on my gut, so there was that. But even then, like I was up for, I don't know, there was just something about experiencing nature in a hammock that kind of drove me to do the crazy thing of hiking. So at what point did you say, hey, maybe we need to graduate from like the Eno to more like I don't say like a serious setup, but just a more accommodating setup?
What do you think about after the first year?
I was going to say about a year and a half.
Yeah, we hit it hard. Both of our employers joked and asked, we're the weekend warriors. Where'd you go this weekend? Where'd you hammock hang?
Yep.
And Eno was the gateway drug. I wouldn't probably even be there without Eno. After the first year, we did some research. I did the best that I could, and I fell, in love with, somebody that we know well, Randy Smith, Papa Smurf. We fell in, to a couple of the Sparrow hammocks.
Yeah. They're awesome.
Yeah, Dream Hammocks makes an amazing piece of gear. That they've always been huge supporters of HangCon. In fact, they were sponsors of HangCon even before I took over. Papa Smurf and Mama Smurf at the time, they would come down, and awesome people. I have a Sparrow as well. It's a great piece of gear.
Yeah. We were kind of consider ourselves lucky that, we didn't have a lot of knowledge. We just did a bunch of research, watched some videos. I mean, everybody's seen Shug. So this is 2013, 2014. I ran into him online a little bit, 4 or 5 companies to choose from. And I pulled the trigger on Dream Hammocks, and it was the perfect trigger to pull. I just absolutely love him, love the company, what he stands for, and a great product.
Absolutely. So you enter into the Dream Hammock hole. You're locked in. Like you spent like a solid investment on
Yes.
really good gear.
Yes.
Why the AT?
We started hitting North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and South Carolina foothills pretty hard, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Definitely.
Every weekend, if we did it, and my wife's a nurse, so she just automatically gets days off. Frustrates me all the time.
They never work.
Yeah. I mean, it's just always a day off. But every time I pull a vacation, we do a bunch of 4-day weekends and do, what we like to do. Like at that point, 10 miles a day.
Yeah.
30, 40, 50-mile trips. And we quickly found that number hitting 800 to 900 miles on the weekends of backpacking. Ironically, this sounds so weird. Remember, I'm born and raised in Minnesota. We were on the Art Loeb Trail. Yes. Beautiful little trail, by the way. And somebody was very, very excited to hike the Appalachian Trail with his son the next year. So excited. One of the most jacked up feelings. I mean, this guy was ramped, and I wanted to support him. I was like, that's amazing. I didn't know what the Appalachian Trail was. But you could his feeling coming off of him. I wanted to be there to support him, to push him forward, and to drive him. We got home and Googled it, and it changed everything. Yeah. I didn't even know that was possible.
Oh, wow.
We decided, we just talked about, it was one of those things, one day, someday. So at that point, it was just that this would be crazy someday, but in the back of your head, like, but you'll never do it.
So you had that moment, and what made you say, nope, we're gonna take this dream, this thought, this what if, and like, no, we're putting feet to ground, and we're making this a reality.
The backpacking addiction continued, won't you say, Missy?
Yes, it did.
And we, then started buying more backpacking gear, lighter backpacking gear, and doing bigger trips. Yep. We took a week-long vacation and did a 250-mile trip. Attempted to do it. My knee kind of was getting used to things back then.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And it just kept expanding. We were at a rough calculation getting past 1,500 miles of weekend warriors. and we did a wedding anniversary in a place called Sugar Mountain.
Sugar Mountain. Yep.
I'd say the state, but I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to say North Carolina, but you can correct me.
Yes, I think it's a ski resort. Like Sugar.
Yes.
Yeah, North Carolina. Yep.
And what I Googled was that was just an hour and 10 minutes from a place called Roan Mountain. I did not tell Missy. It was our anniversary. I was going to surprise her by looking at the first white blaze ever, because we've talked about this for years in that we'll never do it aspect.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Carver's Gap, famous for anybody that's familiar with the Appalachian Trail, walked the Balds, went up there, and it was done.
Yeah.
We were sold. We're like, we will do this. Let's talk when we get home. And we laid at that point what was a 4-year plan out to attempt. I said, let's take 2 months off and let's do our biggest trip ever on the Appalachian Trail. How amazing would that be? About 1 year into this planning, my amazing and beautiful wife said, why not hike the whole thing? That's when you know you married the right person.
Go big or go home.
That's right. That's what I say.
And that changed everything. I mean, it took a lot of planning, but that day, seeing our first white blaze, being on the Roan Highland Balds doesn't hurt. But that was the day that set the reel in from we should do this, we'll never do it, to we're going to try this.
We're going to do this.
So, did you guys start in Springer, or did you start at Catat?
We started in Springer. We're close enough. At the time, we're still right in Charleston, South Carolina. So not too bad of a little jump over there to Springer. And we born and raised in Minnesota, I don't mind hiking in cold weather. I actually prefer it. So we ended up starting early. We started the last week of February.
Yeah.
So it was
cold.
Yeah. I mean, hiking in the day in the 40s, sleeping at night in the 30s is kind of my gig.
Yeah.
So that was beautiful.
And you guys did the whole thing in a hammock?
We started in a hammock because, remember, we had never tent camped.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is what we do. We hammock camp and we love it.
Yeah.
We started in the hammock, and a couple weeks in, it was a very interesting start to the Appalachian Trail. In 2019, nobody's going to remember this, but there was a very first polar vortex.
Mm-hmm.
It happened for the first time in 79 years. So we slept in our hammocks because that storm came through as a 48-hour storm down to -6. And that was fine. We have hammock gear quilts.
Mm-hmm.
That was the choice we made way back when we made our change. And I absolutely love those things. They are beyond amazing. Mm-hmm. It kept raining. We had 7 straight days of rain.
Oh, it was terrible.
And at the second or third week, real early, we sat down and we're kind of thinking the same thing. Is it possible, if we're going to hike a married couple for 6 months, more than separating each night with a hammock and yelling at each other, are we going to need to get that word that starts with a T? Weren't really happy with our decision, but it saved our hike. We actually bought a tent, mailed all of our hammock gear other than our quilts home, and we became ground dwellers for the Appalachian Trail. Crazy enough. But the communion at night, when it's raining for the first 4 hours and you have to stay in your hammock or tent for 6-month hike, we found, unfortunately for a married couple, if you're going to make it through, that uncomfortable box on the ground might be the answer.
Yes.
Gotcha. So like what, so let's talk about your hike for a little bit. What were some of your most memorable spots on the AT?
Oh, wow. There are a lot of them. One thing that sticks out was hiking to Roan Highlands, approaching what we knew and the reason we were there on foot, which is, I want to say, right around mile marker 400, I believe.
Yes.
Just absolutely amazing. Most people that through hike the Appalachian Trail end up having nasty things to say about the Great Smoky Mountains, understandably so, because there's so much moisture and cold.
Mm-hmm.
But wouldn't you say we ended up loving them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
The Great Smoky Mountains stood out for us. It actually snowed on us twice, but the beauty of the Smokies stood out.
And we saw our first bear there.
Yep, saw our first bear, which I thought the guy said there's a beer in a tree, which I thought was weird, but I'll grab the beer out of the tree and drink
I
it.
was excited about the beer.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, he has an accent, and he said there's a bear in a tree.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
I still give him grief about that.
Going farther, that the Roan Highlands always for us hold out. That the weirdest places in Tennessee stole my heart. Like things we want to go back to is this little bitty thing called the Viking Cliffs. What is that weird? There's a mountain in Tennessee I can't pronounce. The one that is like an alpine forest.
Oh yeah. What is that?
I can't pronounce anything in Tennessee, by the way. It is tough, but yeah, a lot of Tennessee stole our hearts.
Mm-hmm. I liked, of course, mile marker 500 and getting to see the ponies.
Yeah, Grayson Highlands.
Grayson Highlands was fun.
Amazing. And as much as everybody says Virginia's flat, just zip it. Like it is absolutely not.
Yeah.
West Virginia, and then the beginning of the Pennsylvania Rocks. Actually, sometimes the worst parts that day is bad, but when you think back about it, it makes you smile. Mm-hmm. The first time I nearly had, or the first and only time I almost had hypothermia, it was raining in the mid 40s for 4 straight hours because I made a horrible decision to leave a dry shelter. The things you look back on and smile. So 4 hours of heavy rain, the mid 40s. I have all the proper gear. We're prepared hikers, but that gear is in my backpack.
Yes.
So we got into the shelter.
It hailed on us.
Yeah, it actually hailed for about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I announced, I'm hoping everybody's a through hiker, announced, hello, everybody, I'm nearly hypothermic. Divert your eyes. I'm going to go to the corner. I'm going to strip down and get my dry clothes on. And that was awfully interesting because the through hikers were like, yep, I get you. And the people that just happened to be out for the weekend wanted, they were not happy with me.
They wanted to report it.
Yeah. It was a safety thing.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get into, things like the Wildcats and hiking above, the timberline and stuff. There's so many amazing stories, and half the ones I truly remember are the tough days that we survived.
Yeah.
So let's look at the other side of it. What were some of like the hardest or the most grueling, or maybe the aspects of the AT that you do not miss?
Much to my surprise, because we had been in Charleston for, at the time, over 10 years. The middle of this country on the coast, Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, until you get to some of that heights, there's a lot more humidity than I would have expected on trail. We were hiking in 90s, but high humidity, which absolutely surprised me. Some people maybe not, but I did not expect humidity on the Appalachian Trail like we found.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I feel like the physical part was grueling, but the mental part was really tough. Like, especially going into a town and being in there for about 3 days and, getting back to normal society. And then all of a sudden having to go back out to the trail. It was almost just overwhelming.
Some of the small stuff, when you had a shoe replacement, or Missy had special shoes because she ran into a very big foot issue. We thought our trail was going to end. Yeah. So we went to Hoka at the time now, which I understand is the biggest shoe in the world. In 2019, it was brand new, but they fixed her issue. So we'd have to have them ship them. So we might be in a town for 2 to 3 days. And like she said, it mentally switches some type of gear, and leaving those towns was tough. The mental side absolutely was tough.
Gotcha. I would say, like, for me, now I've never done a through hike of the AT, but I will say I've got a lot of experience hiking, probably Virginia South. But I'll tell you, the section of the AT that kind of parallels and kind of crosses over the Vermont Long Trail in like Vermont and Maine and stuff like that, those trails are no joke.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I would say a little jaunt that we did, it was only, it was only 3 or 4 miles that we did in Vermont because we made poor life choices. But it was probably some of the hardest hiking that I've probably ever done. Like the trail, that trail was by name only. It was more of a we are climbing up the side of this hill, and blazes might be little flickers. I wouldn't say more blaze, but yeah.
We had met somebody pre-hike. You learn you get into these class of, like, we're a class of 2019, so you meet some people pre-hike. One of those, I forget her trail name now, but it was like Sarah NH maybe.
Okay, that's right.
And when we met, I forget, we went into her about mile 600 or 700 something. We finally met her, and NH stood for New Hampshire, her home hiking state. Whew. Those people that hike the whites, the wildcats, the presidentials every day are a different breed of people. Let me tell you right now.
I thoroughly understand now why there are so many more people that are Nobo versus Sobo. Because if you're starting at the north side of the trail, south side of the trail, that's going to be a cakewalk. Like, I mean, just hiking through kind of the weather conditions that you have, like on Mount Washington and through the presidentials and stuff. Those are insane, just switches.
Yeah, real quick. And even as you continue into the wildcats, like, everything is different. Like you mentioned, I couldn't imagine starting Katahdin just to say, ha ha ha, look at me, I'm in the 100-mile wilderness, to then be kicked in the face by the wildcats, the presidentials, the whites. Like, that's tough.
We're not talking a little kick. We're talking like TKO punch in the face kind of thing.
Picking your teeth off the ground type.
100%. 100%. Oh man. So you get off the AT. But now, like, you guys do these like long road trips, and you're on the road traveling to different things, going to shows and stuff like that. So how is the transition going from like hiking on the AT? How long did it take you guys to complete the entire trail?
It was about 6 months.
Okay.
That's
so what is that transition like, going to doing long road trips? And do you guys like the long road trip format, or do you have another long distance hike in your future?
We love traveling in our van, which we affectionately called Eddie Vander, because we love Pearl Jam. So, I mean, it was easier for us than most. Like, when we got back to the van, which is 65 square feet, we had fans, we had a heater, we had running water and a toilet. The van felt like
it's a little thing.
Luxury.
Like luxury. Yeah. So we actually, right after finished the AT, did a 6-month trip up through some national parks, and then hit Canada hardcore. Banff, Jasper, did the Canadian Yukon, and actually we're going to Alaska before the snow said, no, you need to run out of here fast. And so the transition wasn't too bad.
No, not at all.
And then, of course, you transition, because we did full time in the van after finishing the AT for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And then, off from that. But when you're not just constantly traveling, that sit down time is tough. I have to say that hiking is kind of the core of each of our hearts. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
So we are close to finishing up the Pinhoti Trail. I don't even know the full mileage on that. I want to say 300, but I also want to say 500. I'm not sure.
I want to say like I want to say around like 300-ish.
Yeah, 350. And we've done a lot of mid-size hikes now. For us, mid-size is really 100 to 400. But yes, we last year did a 4-month road trip in the van, hitting Pacific Northwest really hard with every state park. But the reason we went there is friends we met on the Appalachian Trail had permits to do the entire Yosemite backcountry end to end, including Half Dome. And that beauty re-shook us, almost slapped us in the face. And we are attempting to put together plans to do the PCT.
Yes.
Okay. So that's like your next big what if trail?
Yep,
Yes,
exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So, the PCT, that's another just interesting trail, just because of the variety of terrain that you get. You're hiking through the mountains, but you're also hiking through like flat, scorching deserts as well. So, oh man, that's so. Do you have like a timeline of when that might happen, or is it just kind of pie in the sky ideal for right now?
We don't do pie in the sky as much anymore, he says with air quotes. But really what we're looking at is probably that like 27 or 28 time frame.
Okay. All right. So you did 3 years full time in the van, traveling around. Let's talk about that for like what is that like? Living your life in a van, and home is wherever you park it, kind of thing. What is that like living for an extended period of time, like 3 years? Like, tell us a little bit about that journey.
It was extremely crazy and amazing mixed.
It was fun.
We both thought we would take a year sabbatical from our jobs to do the Appalachian Trail, and a touch of that life, even a taste of it. I used to kind of roll my eyes that you don't finish, or you don't start a thru hike and finish the thru hike the same person until you do it. And I don't roll my eyes at it anymore. Mm-hmm. So things change, personalities change. And the hike or the travel was amazing to see so much of this country. I say it all the time. We're unbelievably spoiled and blessed with how many ecosystems and beautiful places are in this country. Half of my social media, whether it's my family or friends or just people that find me on social media, you won't believe how many times I get asked, is that in the US or are you outside the country? We are spoiled. So it was a fantastic trip. We got to slow travel, hit every state extensively. Feels like I've been through half the towns in the country. And it was great. Now it comes with its own set of objections and issues. It's not perfect. As long as you are comfortable being uncomfortable, it is life-changing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So out of the places, what were some of your more uncomfortable positions?
Well, when your house and your van or your vehicle are the one and the same, when you break down, you kind of are stuck wherever you are. And then, the tow truck has to come, and it's just a mess.
And we've been at a mechanic shop for a week, which obviously is in a bad neighborhood. You're sleeping right there. The mechanic's like, you can sleep in there because he's a diesel mechanic that works on our van. But that was definitely interesting. We decided to visit, it's got to be Zion, which was life-changingly beautiful. Angels Landing. I always have to pause so I don't call it Angels Rest from the Appalachian Trail. The Narrows, all that was beautiful. And then, okay, let's just leave town. There is a huge BLM, Bureau of Land Management, if you're not familiar, if your viewers aren't, just free places to sleep in most cases provided by our federal government in what is called Hurricane Georgia, or right outside Georgia, but Hurricane Utah. Have you ever had the benefit of stopping into Hurricane, AJ?
I don't think that I have. I've been through hurricanes, but not in Hurricane Utah.
It is roughly 45 minutes from Zion, and it is properly named.
Yes, it is.
The one night we stayed there was up to 77-mile gusts, 40-mile straight lines. Everybody now we're in a camper van, but everybody with a bigger rig had to connect and make sure their RVs, fifth wheels, Class A's, everybody was pointing directly into the wind so it wouldn't topple over. And all night long, it felt like our van was literally going to flip. A few times I thought it came off a wheel. Just when everything you have is then you travel with and is your home, it can get pretty crazy, and including getting stuck once. But a lot like long distance hiking community and the hammock camping community, which are amazing people. The full-time travelers or people that are on the road really help each other out as well.
They do.
Yeah, that was kind of us this past summer when we were in Ohio. I wasn't familiar that Ohio was part of Tornado Alley until this summer, and it's pretty right in that Tornado Alley when you have there is something special about experiencing a tornado warning at 10 p.m. at night while you were camping in a pop-up camper. It's not 0 stars. That's my Yelp review. Would not recommend.
Would not recommend.
Well, I will say that the family was in the pop-up. I was in my turtle bug stand. So again, 0 stars. Do not recommend.
Good review for the turtle bug stand.
Yeah. Stand, with the exception of the Tarpic center pole, handed out fine. It did get toppled over, but 99% of it survived.
Nice.
But yeah, so what are some of like your like diamond in the rough places that you've been to? Because I've been to, like yourself, I've been to a lot of national parks, and I've been to a lot of state parks as well. And there are some absolutely incredible state parks. We were at Hocking Hill State Park this past summer, and gosh, Hocking Hill State Park it takes the cake all off of a lot of national parks that I've been to. What are some of the places that you've seen that you were overwhelmingly pleasantly surprised with?
The first thing comes to mind, I always say, everybody wants to go to Utah. It's Moab, it's beauty, it's some of the best hiking. So we wanted to do the national parks. I literally, bad researcher, I had not heard of Canyonlands National Park. We're there. We hit the others. I might as well go to the one that I'd never heard of. It possibly is my favorite national park in Utah. Canyonlands blew me away. Especially if you can overland just a little bit, a high clearance vehicle. And I'm in a van it's high clearance, but it's 2-wheel drive and it could get stuck in wet grass. So you don't have to be too special, but it has a humongous back part of that national park, which is breathtakingly beautiful. That national park stole my heart for sure.
Yes.
A couple state parks out there. One is in Utah, and hopefully I'm saying this right, but Dead Horse State Park.
Yes, Dead Horse. That was amazing.
Probably more beautiful than at least 1/5 of the national parks that I've seen. And Wisconsin and Michigan, especially Michigan's UP, have state parks that I don't know why they're state parks. Porcupine State Park, and I want to say that's Wisconsin. If it's the UP, I apologize, is stunningly beautiful. Now, we were there in full colors, to be fair, but it was like, I could move there. Yeah. Life-changingly beautiful. Like both the UP and Wisconsin's upper state parks should just be on the National Park Registry.
And my favorite national park was Crater of the Moon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a neat one.
It's such a different spot.
It's a drastic landscape difference from most other state parks or national parks.
It's
where is it? This one, that's in like Oregon, isn't it?
I want to say I'm pretty confident it was Idaho. It's weird that we travel so much, you forget where you are. Yeah. But it's Idaho, Craters of the Moon.
Yeah.
And it just feels so different. It's very hard to even describe. It is lava fields. It is 200-300 foot craters in the earth. Nothing looks like you're on this earth. It is amazing.
Yeah.
Yep, it is in Idaho.
Yep, Idaho. I just double checked.
I'll definitely have to put that on our list of places to definitely check out. I think so. Next summer, our plan is to, and this might be the first time I'm saying it on the podcast. Our plan next summer is to hit Southern California, so Joshua Tree, Sequoia, Kingsland, Yosemite, more than likely Yosemite. Yes. And I think there might be one other one that we might hit out there. Like Sequoia was probably my very first bucket list item of a state park. I didn't read a lot in school, and even being a teacher now, I still don't read a lot, so I teach math. But I do remember reading something probably like in the 3rd grade. So I'm like 7 or 8. And I remember reading something where they had taken this tree and they had like turned it into and carved it out, and they were doing this house inside, and there's this tree that you drive through, and that just kind of blew me away. And ever since I was that age, I've always wanted to go to Sequoia National Park, just based off that little reading passage that I did in 3rd grade. I also wanted to make sure that I hit redwoods as well.
Yes.
However, I thought, big trees and big trees, they must be somewhat close to each other. They are not. they are like 6 hours apart from each other. And so we probably will not hit Sequoia and Redwoods at the same time, but yeah, definitely gonna hit Sequoia next summer, that I'm crazy excited about. But I think we decided that instead of driving out there, so for us that would be easily a 6-day drive. We might just bite the bullet and fly out and rent a vehicle and then do our driving. That way, that's going to save us 2 weeks on the road anyway, and we get to spend more time exploring the area and stuff as well.
Sounds like a good plan. That's very similar as we swap itineraries, and we stole your Colorado itinerary. As what we did last year is we came in Southern California, drove all the way up slowly, did Sequoia, Redwoods, Kings, what is that one? Kings Canyon, Avenue of the Giants. Cool. So we'll throw you a little love with some information.
Yeah. And you had mentioned that you've been to like Banff. Like that is a newer bucket list item for me. And I've said on the podcast before, Glacier National Park is hands down the prettiest place that I've been to on Earth. And I've heard so many people say, oh, well, if you think that's pretty, the Canadian Rockies are so much more beautiful. And I just can't mentally comprehend what that looks like, and I didn't even see the thing that I was most looking forward to in Glacier, because the Going to the Sun Road was closed that year.
Oh
man, again, another bucket list item for me was Lake McDonald, to see all like the colorful river rocks and stuff like that. And we were there, and it was like July 4th weekend, and it was the latest time that they had not opened the Going to the Sun Road, because at the ranger station midway through, they still had 20 feet of snow.
Whoa.
Up there, and they were still worried about like avalanches and things like that. We could another cool opportunity that allowed us to do, they did open the road, I want to say maybe like the first 3 to 5 miles of it, that you could actually just walk up it. You couldn't drive it, but you could walk up it.
Okay.
And that was really cool. That provided us an opportunity that maybe you wouldn't see like if you were driving. So that was cool. But yeah. But then the year after, it was like the earliest that they had ever opened it up. And so I'm just like, curses. But definitely going back there. And yeah, Banff, we had almost gone up and done, what is it? Maybe it's Jasper and that whole, Pacific Northwest, up into there. The mountain biking community up there has some like really cool trails that my in-laws were looking at going in, and I was just looking to get to the Pacific Northwest. So yeah, California next year, and and maybe somewhere else in Europe in the next next few years. Do you guys have any aspirations to travel outside the country or any other outside the states plans?
We do. We're putting them together. So, I mean, again, we're so spoiled. There's some ecosystems we still want to see here. And ironically, outside of shoes on feet, we have really never been to like New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, so that will be our next trip.
I have an itinerary for you.
Nice. See how that works? So it's so weird to think it's not far from us, and we've never been there in a vehicle. So yeah, we're going to do that. And we're looking to, get into Iceland for some hiking. And then Missy and I are attempting to figure out, she wants to do the Camino, and it's a great way to get to Europe. I really want to do a trail I'm going to slaughter, but I'll call it the Te Arote in New Zealand. And that's very hard to get to. And you know how the wife usually wins arguments. So we're probably doing the Camino sometime.
Europe is a little bit closer than New Zealand.
Yeah. The budget looks a lot easier to get there.
And why can't we do both? Let's just do both.
I like that thought.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's right.
Oh my goodness. All right. So let's take a break from like talking about travel, and let's talk about like one of my favorite things in the world, coffee. And this, you're a gentleman that I can geek out about coffee with, and you do some amazing coffee.
Thank you.
You kind of like were maybe a catalyst of making me understand that, you really do like light roast, and light roast are really, really good. And your Kenyan blend was kind of like the catalyst of like, maybe I'll try some of these lighter roast, and I am fully on board with light roast. I am a light roast king right now. That's usually my go-to. So
Nice.
let's talk about 803 coffee and kind of the origin of that, and what you have done. Let's talk about your baby for that.
Yeah. My one of my initial loves is coffee. Ironically, when I was young, didn't drink coffee. Missy and I eloped to Jamaica
Yes.
to get married. You either go back to South Dakota, no offense, South Dakota, love you, and get married with friends and family because now we're in Charleston, or just skip the country, and Jamaica was a win. And my wife liked coffee. I did not. They served coffee there because they have the Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee.
Mm-hmm.
He put it down in front of me. And I said, no, I don't want any coffees. And he said, why not? I don't like coffee. He said, are you American? He said, you should try my coffee. I tried it, and it was from a farmer I could actually see. I could see the crops, and it changed everything for me. Maybe I have an addictive personality since that hiking thing got a little crazy.
I know nothing about what you're talking about, John. I know nothing about what you're talking about.
I started drinking only the finest coffee because I don't have a taste for anything less for the next handful of years. Coffee became a driving force to find the best tasting. What is my profiles like? I became like a wine person. When we traveled, talking about our travels, everything was where are we going to hike and where am I getting local, fresh roasted, in-house? Who's roasting my coffee, and can I talk to the roaster? And it's always just been a passion. When we hiked the Appalachian Trail and figured out that maybe we weren't going to go back to corporate life, we wanted to do something that we're passionate about. I'm extremely passionate about coffee, and the Appalachian Trail changed us in a way that I can't write down or exactly express. It's the wilderness, connecting back to my roots, understanding how amazing and simple life can be. Just the wilderness changed us, and I wanted to give back to that wilderness. How can I do two things at once? So I started a coffee company. This all gets super geeky very quick. And went right to what's called specialty grade coffee beans. Specialty grade is 82 points and above. It's the finest coffee beans in the world. And then chose to, what will I do with this? Well, I'm going to try to make a life out of it, and I want to give back. So with our coffee profits, we try to go to places that benefits, like the HangCon, like we're at Trail Days. We're going to be doing Pinhoti Days next year. And part of our profits go back to reforestation in really challenged ecosystems. We also pick ones that are close to our heart. I'm the business owner. So some of that is the ecosystems are trying to rebuild on the Appalachian Trail. Giving back. I'm using coffee as what I love to drink and serve, and its finest option to also try to give back to Mother Nature and our wild places that are constantly under attack, because it changed my life forever, and I kind of feel the need to give back to it.
Gotcha. So where does the name 803 come from?
803 is our area code here in South Carolina. Outpost thought is just kind of, that kind of throwback to the olden days of the wilderness. We call the farm the outpost. So 803 Outpost Coffee came together. And yeah, we dove in like we do maybe a few times, opened it shortly after kind of getting everything figured out in the van. And we've been going from there. And I've been turning people that thought coffee was bitter or dark roast was great into understanding what light and light medium can be like, and what an amazing cup of coffee can do for you, community, communication with others, and the benefits of it.
So why do you think, and some people may disagree with me, but I don't care. It's my podcast. So why do you think coffee is, in my opinion, the best drink out on a trail? Or why is coffee the very best thing when you're out in the wilderness, the first thing in the morning? What is it about coffee that just kind of wakes up the experience?
Coffee can be a life changer. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times on trail, you're looking at some dehydrated stuff and such. But really, I mean, number one, the warmth on that cold day, that morning. You have to be present when you're drinking coffee. simply just not to burn yourself. So you sit down in your chair, your campfire, you have to be present when you're drinking coffee. Being present, living in that moment, I think allows you to bring in nature more. It can warm up the hands, make you feel better. And it really does build community. People gather around coffee. I grew up in farming communities. The farmers got talked around coffee, but you get people around the campfire, you get them talking, you get them to slow down and drink coffee. And I think you're more present in the wilderness when it's around. That's my thought.
So, with you guys being on the road and things like that, and hopefully this doesn't happen to you very often, but what is it like now, knowing that you've done your own roast, you have done the research to find like some really amazing coffee. And guys, if you have not tried out 803 Outpost Coffee, it is like legit good. What is it like for you to have a bad cup of coffee? Like if you've got to pull in and like you're pulling into like this one horse town, there's like this 60-year-old Dunkin' Donuts that you're just like, I got to get coffee. What is it like for you to have a bad cup of coffee?
It's tough. I gotta admit, unfortunately, some of that, two sides of that is low quality beans. But in most cases, it's just people don't know how to roast, and there's a lot to it. It's a technique. It's a life. And it just really doesn't sit well with me. I'm just going to admit, I'm looking for, that flavor pop. Every cup of coffee can tell you a story. I can identify what countries and regions it comes off the, taste of that soil. And it makes me I might think, oh my gosh, I had a light roast like this when I was at Linville Gorge in North Carolina. We love going there. And I'll think I was hammock camping up there with my wife. And it's just a community builder and a thought builder. And it centers me. And I hate a bad cup of coffee. But unfortunately, you can't always get around it.
Yeah. So like for me, like I'll have a few cups of coffee a day because, again, that's how I live. But like I have my really nice, my bags of coffee that I've gotten from travels, like the ones that, I'm going to pay a pretty penny for. And then when I get after school, like I'm just like going to tutoring. And so I'm popping in, there's a Dunkin' down the road. And it's just like a quick kind of, but there's just something about it. But you make a good point. A cup of coffee can elicit a lot of the response that a lot of people may get when they're like tasting wine or tasting whiskey. Like you're getting that those flavors that elicit some sort of memory, that elicits some sort of a sensory pop that comes to mind. I had a cup of coffee at a place. It was in the Smoky Mountains this past summer. We were just outside of, I forget, Townsend, maybe, North Carolina.
Yep.
And there was a coffee roaster down the road, and the coffee, it was, I think it was a Kenyan, a AA Kenyan, and drinking it gave me this, it was coffee, but it tasted like really good black tea. And I could just imagine, sitting, even though it was hot, it gave me the sensory response of like sitting on a back porch at my grandma's house, like drinking sweet tea. But it was just something about that. And I think a good cup of coffee, can do that and just kind of elicits a lot of conversations as well. And so when you guys are traveling, what is your preferred method of brewing your coffee, and why do you choose that over other methods?
Preferred method is always going to be a pour over. Hario preferred, but a pour over. Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting combination of a very simplistic way to make a coffee, but with just a little practice. If everybody on here can imagine putting up your first hammock, you slept in that night, you loved it, it was great, and nothing you did was probably right. You weren't at the 45-degree angle, the lines were tight, you had a calf ridge. The first time you do a pour over, you're gonna be like, wow, that was amazing. And you probably didn't do anything right. Just a little research with water temperature and speed, and it'll become the best way and the most simplistic way to make coffee. So my preferred method is a pour over.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Gotcha. So, yeah, I am a 100% an AeroPress geek. I absolutely love my AeroPress. I've got 2 of them on my classroom. One's in my backpack all the time.
Yep.
When I'm heading up to Michigan next weekend, my AeroPress will be in there. But it's not just AeroPress. I must have the AeroPress, the pressure valve as well. I can't just have like the paper filter. But yeah, I do enjoy a good pour over as well. What is your go-to coffee that you prefer? Like roast? Is there a particular type of beans that you personally enjoy?
It's kind of a feeling for me. So I like across the board. And an ode to the AeroPress. The small AeroPress is my go-to backpacking. That is 100%
Yes.
backpack.
Yep.
Really good way to do it. But without the paper, with the actual metal and
Yep.
So I like something. It's a very opposite world. I like very dark, robust, earthy flavored coffee. Now,
Okay.
the problem is when people talk about that, it's kind of like if you're new to beer, new to wine, anything, you're thinking Starbucks and bitter. That's just a different world. It's not the highest quality bean, and it's over roasted. Nothing against Starbucks.
100%.
They roasting profiles are horrific. But a very deep, robust coffee that just finishes smooth. Like you're like, wow, how did that finish so good? And quite the opposite of that. Some of the finest coffee on this earth, and half the people listening are going to roll their eyes, are a properly done light roast. You bring out that soil, that flavor, a little bit of what is called brightness with a touch of acidity behind it. And it could be the greatest cup of coffee you've ever had if it's done right. But unfortunately, light roast are given a bad name, especially in the United States.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think for me, I have found the problem on the other end. I've tried a lot of different dark roast, and just like it's really easy to mess up a light roast, it's really easy to mess up a dark roast by over roasting it.
Yes.
And so you bring out a lot of those bitters and things that I have found a couple different roasteries that have done some really good dark roast. But man, for me, just I'm happy with it. I will try. I'm more apt to try something the light roast because I can almost more guarantee that it won't be burnt with the light roast versus some of the other roast. But yeah.
And in reality, a properly done what's called medium dark. Again, this stuff gets super crazy, but how much pressure you get into the bean right away to that first crack, to the darkness that comes out, that first crack timing is everything. But a medium dark roast is where people probably need to land. Unless you're a plug for me, unless you're 803 and your roasting profiles are just on point, you have to be careful not to over roast a dark bean because it destroys it.
Gotcha. Now, a lot of your, all of your roasted are like fresh roasted coffee. Have you ever thought about doing some like of the instant, or what is that process looking like?
I have extensively thought about that because of kind of our background,
Hiking.
and I want to do something for hiking because I'm always an AeroPress. 90% of the people are, instant in the stick. Everything we do right now, like sometimes you see me at a show, I'll probably see a good bit of your audience at HangCon, is we try to show up Wednesday or early to, have a little fun. We're a vendor. I'll roast Monday or Tuesday. So that's all drank and purchased within 72 hours of roasting. If you order online with us, you actually place your order, then we roast it, and then we mail it to you. So it can get anywhere in the country within 72 hours of roasting. There are special ways to do instant coffee that we're still trying to perfect with other partners that will freeze flash it, but you're also leaving chase chunks in there. That you get that what's called acidity and brightness to it. So we're trying to find the perfect way to still deliver fresh roast. It took me 3 years, but I actually have fresh roasted single-use pods now. You have to get the grain, and I won't get crazy, but it takes a lot to put a fresh roasted coffee into a pod, get it to you, and taste like every other cup. I finally have achieved that about 18 months ago. My biggest thing that I want to achieve is the proper instant. Break open the bag, throw it in there, and keep hiking, and keep that smile on your face.
Gotcha. So outside of 803, do you have a particular coffee from another roaster that you really, really enjoy?
It's mostly mom and pop shops. I keep a long list as we travel. I was just blown away last year when we came out of Yosemite. All I wanted was good food because 8 days in the backcountry and a proper cup of coffee, which is tough to find. But we left crazy enough. We're hiking and it was like 50 to 70 degrees, beautiful. We got down to the valley. I don't understand California that well yet. It was 117. So a little different your last day. Yeah, just a little different. But we left to try to get to a cooler spot, and we found a mom and pop roaster that I like to geek out with. So we have a little conversation. I took a sip of his coffee. I'm like, dude, you get it. This was amazing. There's not a lot of main brands out there that I'll still go to, but there is one in most cases I think that does a really good job that you can find in a respectable amount of stores, and that is, it's a Canadian coffee, but it's Kicking Horse. Are you familiar with it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Offered in a lot of the United States, and they do for high production, because it's hard when you're not roasting small batch. Small batch, you can make sure every bean has got its little attention. It's like it's like your classroom. You give every bean, every kid the same amount of attention. I know you do. See?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So you give every bean the right attention in small batch. So we're roasting 20 to 50 pounds. These people are roasting 5,000 to 7,000 pounds, a day. But Kicking Horse is somebody I'll give, some respect to.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll on top of itineraries, we'll have to trade out some coffee places to definitely check out, because I'm trying to think. I've racked my mind of like what are some of the really good ones in that area that had some really, really good coffee. So I have to go through. So I have like this little box of all the bags that I've gotten from roasters, and I'll like grade them on the back, and it's like, all right, well, I'll get from that one. And so I have like a little notebook of
nice
coffee. So yeah, we'll talk.
Absolutely.
So tell us about the coffee that 803 Outpost offers, and where could they find to order some of your coffee?
Yeah. So everything we offer is a number of things, and you can hit my website for questions, but everything again is specialty grade beans. And that just means you start with the highest quality, the rarest farmers, because everything starts with the bean, and then you got to roast it correctly. Most of our beans are from certified organic farmers, certified mold-free farmers. And if you're not familiar with what that means, it's crazy important. So much of American coffee sits on a shelf for 6 to 9 months and there's mold in there. It is super crazy. And we work with a handful of different farmers. It's nice. You build relationships. You actually get Christmas cards back. It's really neat. And we get to do sippings, which is the craziest thing if you ever get to leave this country to do a sipping. So yeah, it's just really, really neat building those relationships with the small farmer. It's a win-win. I'm a small mom and pop roastery. My wife and I own the 803 Outpost Coffee. Mm-hmm. The small farmer, if they can reproduce that lot, these huge companies, unfortunately, don't. They need high production, and they don't pay a lot. The fair trade thing is interesting, but I won't dive into that. So it's a win-win. If they can produce enough for me, I can purchase directly through my importer and my co-op. They win because they get paid more. I win because I get that bean and roast it. You can get us online at 803outpostcoffee.com. Depending where you live, we do, especially the holiday season, we are in a ton of festivals. I try to give back to, I love the hanging community. So HangCon, I still do some in my local state here. And then in North Carolina, trying to make it up to Frozen Butt in Minnesota one of these years, my homeland, but I haven't. And other than 803outpost.com, find us at any festivals or on social media. Everything purchased online is roasted officially after you've placed the order and sent it to you. It's definitely different than coffee that you're used to.
Awesome. And that's like, because even if you're ordering stuff from like Amazon, that stuff, it could be, like John said, sitting on a warehouse for Lord knows how long, that you're getting it before you actually get to roast it. And the product is not going to be quite the same.
Yeah. If you want to scare yourself, or don't do this, if you don't want to scare yourself, Google mold toxins found in American coffee. Most of the world drinks coffee in a 21 to 30 day cycle. If you didn't know, that just means from roasting to drinking is with 30 days. The United States is unfortunately at a 14-month cycle. And there, for that reason, is some interesting coffee out there.
Maybe not some flavors that you may necessarily want.
Right.
Good deal. Well, John, we thoroughly appreciate you coming on and giving us time, and I will thoroughly be looking forward to seeing you again in January, and also having some of your amazing coffee. And please make sure you check out this guy at HangCon. He does a mean cup of coffee, and grab some of his means as well. John, I appreciate you guys coming on.
It's good to see you again. If not
Thank
before, we'll see you at HangCon or over at Traveling Outside the Baatz. I'll take that itinerary from New York, and I'll switch you one for California.
There we go. All right, Hangers. That's this week's episode. We appreciate you guys tuning in. If you've liked what you heard today, please hop online and give us a like and subscribe on wherever you get your podcast content. We really appreciate you feeding the algorithm. It really helps broadcast the Hammock Hangers podcast out to a more broad audience. I really appreciated John coming on and talking about coffee and camping and just doing life on the outdoors. I find his travels phenomenal. Definitely check them out on Facebook as well. And until next time, happy hanging, everybody.
As we gently sway out of another hammock-filled episode, we want to thank you, our wonderful listeners, for hanging out with us on the Hammock Hangers Podcast. We hope that you have found relaxation, inspiration, and a renewed sense of connection to nature through our discussions. Remember to keep that hammock spirit alive in your daily life, whether it's by taking a few moments to unwind in your own backyard oasis, or by planning your next hammock adventure in the great outdoors. Embracing the tranquility, embracing the simplicity, and never forget the joy that comes from simply hanging around. Before we part ways, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all things hammock related. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for the Hammock Hangers Podcast. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to hang with you again on our next episode. Until then, stay relaxed, stay adventurous, and keep on hanging those hammocks high. From all of us here at the Hammock Hangers Podcast, we wish you peaceful hangs and endless relaxation. Thank you for tuning in. Happy hanging, everyone.